The Australian players have broken from their team huddle and we are ready to go. Real stamina needed for World Cup 2022. We hope you've been listening all the way through today. We started at 10 o'clock with that massive shock. Argentina, Lionel Messi and co losing to Saudi Arabia, and here we are just coming up to 7 o'clock this evening in the UK. The countdown is starting inside the stadium. Lovely, warm evening in Doha, and Olivier Giroud with the number 9 on his back passes the ball back to Aurelien Tchouameni, and we are underway, and we are at a very slow walking pace right at the start of the game. I will remind you the two team lineups in just a second. But France have the ball inside their own half. Ibrahima Konate of Liverpool, winning only his third cap for his country tonight, playing alongside Upamecano. The ball is played forward to Kylian Mbappe. Those boots look golden to me. I thought Lionel Messi was wearing a pair of those earlier on today as well. So Mbappe wide on the left-hand side, Giroud through the middle. Here's Griezmann popping up on the right-hand side for France. And this fellow's a real box of tricks. Ousmane Dembele of Barcelona. He beats Behish on the outside, heading for the byline. Crosses floated to the far post. Killed stone dead on his right instep by Mbappe. Twists and turns, left-footed ball into the near post for France. That is headed away. Early danger from the world champions.
Yes, the start we expected from France. They'll try and make a statement and get that early goal and push Australia back. Australia setting up in a 4-1 formation. Moy just sitting in front of the back four, but I think we'll see Australia defend really deep.
The Australian fans, the majority of them, certainly those decked out in the national colours, are behind this goal away to our right. That is the goal Australia are defending. They have Matt Ryan in goal, winning a 76th cap for his country tonight, playing in his third World Cup. Started every game in the last two. Corner from Mbappe, flicked on at the near post, headed away by Behish. Dembele hits it sweetly on the left foot volley. It hits Aaron Moy. The ball spins out into the Australian half. There's an interception inside their own half, and Australia try and get away down the right, and they're looking to win a free kick inside their own half. The challenge comes from Adrien Rabiot, and Australia gets some early relief in the game. They do get that free kick. Didier Deschamps is standing just leaning on the edge of the dugout here. The stadium, I have to say, is relatively quiet in terms of atmosphere. There are still quite a few empty seats around. Australia have the ball inside their own half. Matt Ryan in goal for them. Nathaniel Atkinson of Hearts is their right back. Aziz Behish is the left back. He plays his club football for Dundee United. Australia have taken the ball up to the halfway line. Moy evades a couple of challenge. They still have it. The ball is driven across the French half, and then the strike from Riley McGree was optimistic from a central position 30 yards out, and he's dragged it well wide. Chris Sutton.
Middlesbrough's Riley McGree, and just snatched at the effort, got in at the back of the French midfield, right-footed, and pulled his shot well wide. What we do know, I don't think Australia will create too many clear-cut chances when they do come their way. They have to be clinical.
Craig Goodwin looking for a 1-2. He started wide on the left for Australia. Matthew Leckie is the other wide forward. Australia have won a throw. Attacking position on the left. Goodwin throws it straight into play. There is McGree again, tackled by Griezmann, and the ball goes out for another Australian throw on the left. So Atkinson and Behish, the two full-backs. Kai Rolls and Harry Souttar, the two centre-backs. Aaron Moy in front of that back four. Jackson Irvine now playing his club football in the German second division with St. Pauli, alongside Riley McGree in central midfield. Goodwin and Leckie, the wide men, and Mitchell Duke, who plays his club football in Japan, playing as the centre forward for Australia. Headed away by Lucas Hernandez. The ball drops inside the French half. Griezmann slides in, wins the tackle. Moy plays the pass to McGree. McGree with a low ball out to the left-hand side. Goodwin, one touch, and then cross comes in at pace into the French penalty area. Pavard just chips the ball down the right wing for France, but Dembele can't control it, and Australia have it again, and they're having a good spell early on in this game. McGree overhits his pass on the stretch. Goodwin won't catch that, and the ball goes behind for a France goal kick. 4 minutes gone in the first half here. France 0, Australia 0.
Yeah, and it's been an okay start from Australia. You just wonder, France, whether they think that they're looking around for some spark and something to happen. They had that couple of early efforts, crosses, but Australia have actually kept the ball well. Now they're pressing France quite high up the pitch.
Chris Sutton with us on 5 Live Sport, and BBC Sounds. Looking forward to watching Chouameni again. Watched him at Celtic Park earlier on this season in a really good Champions League game between Celtic and Real Madrid.
I think that's going to be key for France in this competition. That area, central midfield, can Chouameni and the likes of Camavinga step up.
Konaté's diagonal finds Mbappe. Mbappe speeding away down the left into that Australian penalty area. They just get enough bodies in the way to stop him, and it's Harry Souttar who thumps the ball clear with his right foot. He has a real story to tell at this World Cup, does Harry Souttar, and when we get a chance to tell it during this game, we will. Playing his club football for Stoke in the Championship, just back from a long-term injury and having to look after the likes of Giroud, Mbappe, Griezmann and Dembele this evening. 5 minutes played. France 0, Australia 0. Here's Pavard. Pavard didn't like the challenge on him from Adelaide United's Craig Goodwin, who came through the back of him, but Pavard had played the ball away. Now Upamecano's just slightly overhit the pass to the left-hand side. It goes whistling past Mbappe's left foot, and the ball is out for a throw into Australia in their right-back position. Let's just remind you of the French team. Hugo Lloris wins 140th cap for his country tonight. Now just 2 behind the record holder, Lilian Thuram. So if France progress as expected during this tournament, he will become the all-time record cap holder for France. A 16th World Cup appearance for him as well. That is just 1 behind the record of Thierry Henry and Fabien Barthez. Benjamin Pavard right back, Lucas Hernandez at left back, Ibrahima Konaté and Dio Upamecano the 2 centre-backs, Chouameni and Rabiot in central midfield, Dembele, Griezmann, Mbappe and the big number 9, Olivier Giroud. Pass down the left for Australia. Golden shirts, green numbers on the back, green shorts and white socks, back inside their own half. This is Kai Rolls, who's winning only his 4th cap for his country this evening. Stepped in when required in the really important playoff games in June, the wins against the United Arab Emirates to take them through to the big one against Peru, which they snuck through on penalties after a 0-0 draw. So they've played tournament football here in a sense recently in this country. The ball with Rolls and his left foot up towards McGree, chests it down. Goodwin tries to find him again down that left-hand side. Griezmann steps in, slips. Rabiot gets a foot in, clears the ball, and out it goes for a throw into Australia. Midway inside their own half on the left.
Yeah, France just haven't really got started, have they? It's very flat inside the stadium. It's quite lively before kick-off. It's not a full stadium, but as soon as the game started, it's very, very quiet in here, and
just trying to get it going, aren't they? The French fans away to our left-hand side, but it's not that natural football atmosphere that we are used to, is it, Chris?
No, it's absolutely not. But I mean, with regards to the French fans, the team need to play with the correct intensity, the desired intensity to get the fans up and give them something to cheer about. And all at the moment, it's very, very flat. And I think Australia, Graham Arnold, will be pretty happy with his team start.
Aaron Moy. So as Chris was saying, it's a 4-1-4-1, and Moy is the pivot. He's the one in front of the back 4. Where's number 13? Very easy to spot.
It's like a training game, isn't it?
It does. It feels like that, Chris. It really does. The pace of it, and the lack of atmosphere, you have to say. Australia play the ball upfield, chested down by the centre forward Mitchell Duke. Upamecano makes the tackle. Australia have a throw on the left. Maybe an Australian goal might just spark things into life. But it's, if you take the headphones off your ear, and you could shout over to the other side of this pretty cavernous stadium, and you'd imagine you'd probably be heard. Lovely diagonal ball to the right here for Australia. Cross comes in to the far post. Goodwin smashes it into the roof of the net. Less than 10 minutes played, and the world champions are rocked. France are behind. Craig Goodwin with an emphatic finish at the far post. It is France 0, Australia 1.
I tell you what, I said France haven't got started, but it's a brilliant goal. It really is. Souttar with a wonderful long diagonal pass out to the right wing, and Matthew Leckie took a brilliant first touch and then had the composure to spot Goodwin at the far post, and Goodwin stayed really composed. First time, left-footed into the roof of the net. Is there going to be another shock on? Really brilliant finish it is. Leckie cuts inside. Hernandez gets his head up. Does it take a little deflection? The cross does take a slight deflection, but Goodwin In at the far post, ruthless finish. I said Australia would have to be clinical. We've got a game on.
We certainly do. That is a real moment to savour for Craig Goodwin, 30 years old, only his 11th cap, and he has scored at the World Cup finals against the world champions, no less. Now, concerns for France on two fronts. They've conceded early in the game, but in the build-up to that goal, Lucas Hernandez, who was beaten by Leckie on Australia's right-hand side, fell awkwardly. I think he twisted his knee. He is in real trouble, flat on his back inside the French half. And things have started very worryingly for the world champions. The stretcher is straight out on the field. I mean, there'll be a really painful irony in the fact if he does have to come off, he may well have to be replaced by his brother Theo Hernandez. There was talk that possibly you could see a pair of siblings start for France at a World Cup for the first time since way back in 1930. Lucas Hernandez was a regular left back in the World Cup 4 years ago. He's slowly getting back to his feet, and we're just watching a replay of exactly what happened. Leckie's first touch, Hernandez stretched and then couldn't actually make the challenge and went down grimacing, holding his right knee. Leckie carried on, played the fantastic ball right across the face of the French goal, and that was some finish from Craig Goodwin. Lloris had no chance.
No, it was a wonderful finish. Goodwin just balanced himself beautifully. It's all about the connection. First time left-footed on the point of the 6-yard line into the roof of the net, back across Lloris. And I'm worried I might have to run back to the hotel, Bruce. 9 miles.
That's a really good point. In all the excitement, I'd completely forgotten that. There's a long way to go. We're only 11 minutes in. But if you are just tuning in, France 0, Australia 1 is the scoreline. And Lucas Hernandez is coming off, and it is his brother, Theo Hernandez, younger brother, plays his club football for AC Milan, who's having a last drink of water. He'll be desperately sorry and worried to see his brother in the shape he's in right at the start of this World Cup. But France have got a game on their hands, as Chris was saying. They are behind against Australia, who have only ever won 2 of their 16 World Cup games. They're going to have to deal with this fella. Mbappe at full speed down the left. Cross comes into the near post. Rolls is there. Gets in front of his goalkeeper. Heads it behind. And that will be a corner to France. So France are going to be able to make the change. Theo Hernandez will come on for his brother Lucas Hernandez, and will slot straight in at left back. And he's actually the more attacking left back option of the two brothers. He gets a little high five from Upamecano, and we have to see how France can respond. Early setback for them, straight back on the attack. Corner here, trailing 1-0. Mbappe, curling ball into the near post, headed away by Leckie. Volleyed in by Theo Hernandez, his first touch of the game, cleared. Upamecano plays it out to the left-hand side. France always looking for Mbappe out there with his right foot. Cross comes in, flicked on by Rabiot. That bounces inside the Australian penalty area. And Matt Ryan comes running across, leaps up in the air, and falls to the ground with the ball nicely nestled in those blue and black gloves.
You know what, in a funny sort of way, the goal may spark the French into some sort of life. I think it's maybe a really arrogant start from the French, thinking that, you know, they're just going to roll this Australian team over. But you always expect Australian teams to be committed and aggressive. Now they've got something to hold on to. Long way to go.
Well, we're into the heavy run of 4 World Cup games per day, 4 more coming your way on 5 Live and BBC Sounds tomorrow, but I can't imagine you would have had 2 shots together on the same day of this nature in any previous World Cup. Argentina beaten by Saudi Arabia early on, and Australia here 1-0 up against France in the Al Janoub Stadium. France on the ball in their dark blue shirts. Griezmann from deep plays a lovely curling pass out to Mbappe on the left-hand side. Low ball in, is looking for Giroud. Australia managed to get it away. Leckie will chase that down the right. Griezmann is there first, and Griezmann plays back to Upamecano. Here's Rabiot. Long strides, take him across the halfway line. Now Pavard, the right back, is involved. Lots of French possession. Australia sitting inside their own half. They now have a lead to defend. 14 minutes gone in the first half, and here's Pavard in his light blue boots, head up, looking for an option. Dembele is wide on the right-hand side. He comes back centrally to Tchouaméni. Tchouaméni just dinks a delicious lobbed pass out to the left. He immediately gets that ball straight back from Hernandez, and Mbappe's made a clever run in the inside left channel. He's been found on the dribble again. Low cross comes in, nearly found Griezmann. Australia again get a body there, get something there, and the ball is cleared wide to the left-hand side, and then Theo Hernandez gives it away, and Mitchell Duke is back there, the Australian centre forward, just wondering what he can do with the ball. Decides not to clear it with his right foot, comes back to his goalkeeper Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan thumps it high in the sky, the ball is dropping. Upamecano wins the header, chested down by Rabiot. He's under pressure inside his own half, but he's going to be able to bring the ball away.
You see the French plan. Get the ball out to Mbappe and hope something happens.
Sloppy from Rabiot there, he's given the ball away. Aaron Moy bustling forward for Australia, just inside his own half on the right. Twists and turns his way away from Griezmann. Foul committed on Leckie. Australia win a free kick. They have started this game much the sharper, much the better. They have the lead. They've scored a fantastic goal. And as you say, the only plan for the French at the moment seems to be getting that ball wide out to Kylian Mbappe, who does obviously look incredibly dangerous whenever he gets it. Running it, Nathaniel Atkinson of Hearts.
Yeah, and Atkinson not a regular for Hearts this season, fighting for his place against Michael Smith. But every time the ball goes out there, you can see Australia, they don't want to leave Atkinson isolated. Leckie working hard, Irvin working hard to get across, double, treble up. But that's been France's threat, only threat so far. It's a good threat.
16 minutes played. Matt Ryan's got the ball at his feet, the Australian goalkeeper all in light blue. Giroud comes jogging towards him. Ryan draws him in and then just picks the ball up. Thinks about slinging it out overarm like a pace bowler. Instead bowls it underarm like a crown green bowler, and Australia trying to play out from the back here, and they've worked it well. And here's the little left back Aziz Bahish, who's encouraged to come sprinting forward, tearing across the halfway line. Rabiot doesn't want any nonsense from him, just pushes him over, concedes the free kick.
It was a good driving run, wasn't it, from Dundee United's Bahish, taking the ball from level with his own box over the halfway line, drawing the foul.
Well, I gave the stat ahead of the game. 4 of the last 5 champions have gone out in the group stages in trying to defend their trophy. France 2002, Italy 2010 in South Africa, Spain in 2014, and Germany last time around, as France again attacking down the left with Hernandez looking for that cut back, can't find Giroud. Giroud is getting himself in those positions inside the Australian penalty area. They've just not been able to locate him as yet. Here's Jackson Irvine, who plays with the long hair tied back in a little bunch at the back of his neck. Crossfield pass comes across to the goal scorer, Craig Goodwin, who's definitely going to have a story to tell the grandkids later in life. The goal in Doha against the world champions that has Australia in front. Leckie up against Hernandez. The two of them go shoulder to shoulder. Hernandez the stronger. He knocks Leckie over. He then comes away with the ball for France. Makes a good few yards. Passes to his left. Here's Rabiot. Rabiot down the line to Mbappe. The French have been stung and they're trying to respond.
Do you know what I've got to say? Antoine Griezmann, he's been a joke so far. You can see every time Australia get the ball, they pop it into Aaron Moy and Griezmann just stands off him.
Dembele to Mbappe, looking for Giroud with the first time ball. It comes back to Dembele from the clearance. He's in a central position, 25 yards out. Little left-footed pass to Mbappe, looking for Dembele again. Australia are on it and just about close the gaps in time. And suddenly the stadium is really starting to come to life.
Yeah, they really narrow up the Australian back line. They're saying, you know what, you can have the ball in the wide areas, you cross the ball into the box, we will defend our box. We're not going to let you play through us in those central areas.
Upamecano playing the ball across the halfway line to his centre-back Ibrahima Konate of Liverpool. And he managed 4 first-team appearances for Liverpool so far this season. He's another one who's had injury problems. Raphael Varane named amongst the substitutes for France, but not fit to start, you'd presume. not being in this starting lineup. Pavard, quick pass, low out to his right to Dembele. Dembele comes dancing in off that right-hand touchline, ball across to Chouameni. Irvine, strong challenge, and the ball goes out for a throw into Australia. Chouameni went tumbling over the top of the challenge, 3 or 4 rolls from him, but it was a fair one, Chris.
Oh, ferocious, wasn't it? He's that type of player, Jackson. Irvine, all action, committed. That sums up the Australian start to this game and the French start. They're hungrier, the Australians.
Action Jackson in the Australian midfield. And it is the green and gold that are having the better of it so far. 5 Live and BBC Sounds. World Cup Daily is going to be a fantastic listen for you. Via the BBC Sounds app, with the news, of course, also today that Cristiano Ronaldo has now left Manchester United. Portugal against Ghana will be a 5 Live commentary for you on Thursday. At 4 o'clock kickoff as Ronaldo gets into World Cup action, but no longer a Manchester United player to that. So the reaction, analysis, debate in your World Cup Daily podcast, with, of course, all the reaction to Saudi Arabia's fantastic win over Argentina earlier on today. Are we going to see another massive World Cup shock here? The champions are behind. Goodwin's cross into the edge of the French penalty area is headed straight up in the air. Goodwin challenges for it with Dembele. The ball goes bouncing around between the bodies. Dembele chases the pass forward from Griezmann, and it's played out by Rolls for a throw into France on the right.
We talk about the players that France are missing, but Dembele, who hasn't had a great deal of game time for France last season or two under Didier Deschamps, but £135 million player up against Behich of Dundee United.
Australia looking extremely confident. Harry Souttar just came striding out of defence there to get onto the ball. He's a mammoth figure at centre-back. Mitchell Duke's going to try one. Oh! Very nearly found the top corner. The ball just broke to him in the middle of the French half. He looked up and fancied a pop, and Hugo Lloris wasn't sure there, went flying to his left-hand side, and Australia were not that far away from taking a 2-0 lead.
Sloppy French once again. I thought this was in. It is inches away from Lloris's left-hand post. It just cuts across the ball slightly. Lloris throws himself to his left-hand side. He's not stopping that.
No, exactly. Just had that little bit of fade on it, having cut across it with his right foot. He just went swerving away from that left-hand post, and Lloris all in lavender Lloris this evening. Wasn't going to get there. Theo Hernandez under pressure from Leckie. Australia win it again high up inside the French half. Bringing it forward is Riley McGree. McGree plays it to the goal scorer Goodwin on the left-hand side. Back to Behish. Behish almost leaves the ball behind. Dembele comes in with the challenge. Behish manages to hold on to it. And now Aaron Moy plays back into his own half, and here's Behish.
They're just roughing the French up, aren't they? The Australians, far more aggression in their game.
Pass floated down the left-hand side. Riley McGree is going to battle there with Ibrahima Konate, but he's conceded the free kick. So midway through the first half, another massive shock on our hands. 2002, we were talking about it in our commentary last night because we were watching Senegal against the Netherlands. France, as world champions, having won in '98, famously lost that game against Senegal and went home, didn't manage to get through the group stages, didn't even score a goal in that group in 2002. Plenty of time to change things this evening. Seeing plenty of the ball as well. And here's the main man, Kylian Mbappe. Can he make it happen? Mbappe trying to use his pace to get outside Leckie on the left. He's done that by the byline. Stopped eventually there by Nathaniel Atkinson, who just went down like a sort of cricket fielder on the boundary. Put his left leg down on the floor, down on one knee, put his body on the way. Yeah, well, it does. It's the barrier, isn't it? The barrier behind.
The long barrier.
The long barrier, as they call it, Chris. You're right.
I think the game's changed a bit now, hasn't it?
Yeah, they don't feel like that anymore, do they?
They did in the 70s.
Pavard, diagonal ball is beyond Rabiot, it's beyond Mbappe. They've not really been able to find Giroud. Australia lead by a goal to nil.
You'd have seen Dennis Lilly, maybe Jeff Thompson.
Yeah, those sort of players. Yeah. Exactly, Chris. And you have a hat, actually. You have a hat out here, don't you, to protect yourself from the sun, which is which would have fitted in well in that era, the sort of David Gower floppy, I would describe it as.
Yeah, I mean, we did see our producer this morning, who was more Billy Bowden. Billy Bowden, remember?
He gave you the Billy Bowden, he did, didn't he? Yeah, exactly. Here's Aaron Moy.
For his crooked finger.
Exactly. Moy's ball on the half volley, headed away by Pavard. France 0, Australia 1. And here's Griezmann. Griezmann in the centre circle, plays back to Rabiot, up towards Mbappe, who's able to get away at speed from Atkinson. Harry Souttar comes charging across, wins the ball, and knocks it straight out for a throw.
His positioning there, Harry Souttar, absolutely first class. Atkinson too tight to Mbappe, who just rolled him brilliantly, and then he's away. And Souttar got across into the channel. That was a timely clearance.
Pavard plays back here to Canate. Upamecano out wide to Teo Hernandez, and back to Upamecano again. All this action is taking place inside the Australian half. Pavard opens his body up, whips a low pass out here to Dembele. Dembele can't get past Goodwin. Goodwin makes the tackle. He's in the left back position. Australia clear the ball to the halfway line. They're having to soak up a lot of pressure at the moment, but they have the lead. And Matt Ryan yet to be forced into making a save. Ball again worked wide to the right-hand side. Dembele, Pavard starting to make the run beyond him. Dembele's cross into Griezmann, shot off balance, is blocked by Rolls, goes behind for a French corner.
Yeah, Griezmann has been pretty ineffective so far, but it's a good forward run. Inside the box, Dembele found him, but good block by Rolls. Corner to France.
20 minutes to go in the first half. France trailing Australia by a goal to nil. Griezmann's corner headed away. The ball bounces once just outside the Australian penalty area. Played into the penalty area and headed in by Adrien Rabiot, and France are level. Curling cross, found him 6 yards from goal. He's not going to miss there, and the world champions respond. France 1, Australia 1.
Yeah, it's a thumping header, terrific header. It's all about the ball though, wasn't it? I think it was Hernandez with the left-footed cross, and Rabiot timed his run perfectly. He came from the corner, the corner's cleared initially, Hernandez takes a touch, Rabiot. Yeah, the timing of his run is superb. 6 yards out, and he plants a header back across Ryan in the Australian goal. No chance for the goalkeeper. That's what you do. You go back across the goalkeeper in those situations, and Didier Deschamps punches the air. Maybe a bit of relief there.
Chris Sutton might be spared the 9-mile jog home in the end. France 1, Australia 1, 27 minutes gone in the first half.
I think there'll be massive disappointment from Graham Arnold. Don't concede from set pieces or as the ball's cleared. The Australian back line just switched off as they came out, and Rabiot exploited that. Brilliant timing of the run. An emphatic header, and the French have come to life.
They have. Didier Deschamps, hands in pockets, a little more engaged with the action now, comes out to the edge of the technical area. France have won a corner, they've taken it short. Griezmann back to Mbappe, cross into the penalty area. Souttar is there and heads it away. Throw in for France on the left-hand side. We were talking plenty about Didier Deschamps ahead of the game. Remarkable record as player and manager at the World Cup. Just one defeat in 18 games as player and manager for France. Famously captaining France to the trophy in 1998 and then winning it as manager 20 years later. Here they are 1-1 against Australia. Hernandez to Tchouameni, now Griezmann, first time ball to Mbappe. Mbappe tries to stand the cross up, it's blocked. Goes behind for another French corner.
Yeah, you can see they've gone up a couple of gears now, the French. They just sent Australia now, really important phase for them. They've got to hang on in there, show that grit, that determination, that organisation. Defend another set piece here.
Griezmann is going to take this corner. Mbappe's been taking plenty of them from that side. This an outswinger with the left boot, just over the head of Canate. Runs to Dembele. Dembele switches it onto his left foot. Pacey pass across the face of the Australian box. Hernandez chases that. And Griezmann with his right foot whips another good ball in, and Giroud heads this one over the bar. He really had to stretch to get there and couldn't quite keep it down.
Yeah, he wasn't far away. It was a good ball in from Griezmann, right-footed. I think Giroud was half a yard offside anyway, but the cross slightly too high for Giroud. Hasn't had too many touches in this game so far.
He's got those little blonde highlights in the quiff at the front of his hair. Tall, chiselled figure, dark bushy beard.
Should he be having highlights at 36?
I think he can carry that off, Chris. I think I could have 36. I don't think now.
Maybe get a rinse or two, Bruce.
Give it a go out here, possibly. Oh, miscue from Aaron Moy on the volley. Behish heads the ball down to him. Moy plays it forward with his left foot. Australia have barely got into the French half in the last 15 minutes. Took an early lead through Craig Goodwin. Rabiot with the equaliser for France, his third goal for his country. And we're at France 1, Australia 1 in your fourth World Cup commentary of the day on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. 4 more coming your way tomorrow. Coverage starts from 6 o'clock as ever UK time. Rick Edwards over here for breakfast. Jürgen Klinsmann will be one of his guests with Germany in action tomorrow. Chris is going to be watching Germany against Japan. Jürgen Klinsmann is actually here this evening as well, a couple of rows in front of us. So he's going to be the guest on breakfast tomorrow.
I can't see him.
Just 2 rows in front there, Chris. Just about level with you. As France play a bit of keep ball inside the Australian half. Good pass to Griezmann, and his ball just in behind Mbappe, and Matt Ryan comes quickly off his line to go and collect it for Australia.
I think that's the first time we've seen Griezmann get in behind that Australian midfield in that little pocket and trying to prod a ball through. Doesn't work hard out of possession though, Griezmann. Always had the freedom just to get his head up, and you can see Griezmann there as Irvin gets on the ball, not really pressing him as he should be.
Oh, that's brilliant from Rabiot. Gets it back, plays it to Giroud, who gets his 50th goal for France, and that will be one of the easiest that he will ever score. France work it brilliantly in from the left-hand side, and Olivier Giroud is closing in on Thierry Henry's record. France were 1 down. They now lead Australia by 2 goals to 1.
Well, talk about shooting yourselves in the foot. That's exactly what Australia do. They're careless in possession. He's not going to miss that, Giroud. A lot has been made. No Benzema in this tournament. Big boots to fill. He's filling them so far. No goals at the last World Cup. It was Atkinson actually who got robbed of the ball. Clever little backheel, wasn't it, I think, from Mbappe. And Rabiot is onto it. He just stays composed, gets his head up, left-footed, feeds the ball to Giroud. Ryan had committed at the near post, and Giroud, 11 yards out centrally. Open goal. He can't miss. Actually comes off his right heel. One behind. Is he 1 behind now?
Yeah, 1 behind. He's on 50. Chris, half century, which is some going in international football. Thierry Henry on 51. So 2 more goals and Olivier Giroud will be past him. Olivier Giroud winning his 115th cap for his country tonight. And going into tonight's game, having played plenty of major tournament football for France, it was 4 goals in 23 appearances in the tournaments going into this one. But that's another one to the tally. And France now lead Australia by 2 goals to 1.
Yeah, I think Rob Green before the game though made a very good point about Olivier Giroud. It's not just about goals, is it? It's his importance to the team, the way they play. He's unselfish, good focal point, has pace in and around him.
Ball's with Ousmane Dembele inside his own half. Australia pressing a little bit higher up the field. Pavard has to play it back to Lloris. And sprinting into position is Upamecano, the left-sided centre-back for France, and very coolly dummies a pass back to Lloris, spins, clears with his left foot. Rabiot tries to bring it forward. He's tackled it, very nearly ran to Mitchell Duke inside the French penalty area, but he can't catch that, and it goes behind for the goal kick. Rabiot scored the first, made the second, Chris. And he's someone who sometimes gets a bit of stick, doesn't he, Rabiot?
Yes, I mean, what is it? Heavily linked with Manchester United, wasn't he, Rabiot? I've always liked him as a player. Knits things together nicely in that French midfield. And Juve has a really heavy, poor touch from Nathan Atkinson.
Lovely back heel from Mbappe again, matched by Hernandez, who fires his back heel back to Mbappe. He stops for a second, 15 yards inside the Australian half, lurking dangerously between their midfield and back four, but France at the moment working the ball from left to right, and it comes out to Pavard.
Yeah, now they've got a problem, haven't they, the Australians? This is exactly where France want to be. Looking at the French fans now, they're getting their tails up, popping the ball around with that pomp and that swagger, controlling the game. Australia have just got to hang on in there, not concede another one before half-time.
Canate, pass out to the right, finds Dembele. Dembele drops the left shoulder, brings it infield, finds Rabiot. Rabiot, like Giroud, a tall, majestic figure in the French shirt. Mbappe, little leap above the ball, another back heel, comes back to Tchouaméni. Tchouaméni in the inside left channel, just lays it off to Rabiot. France having some fun now. Griezmann on the outside to Mbappe. Mbappe working onto the right foot. Oh, Giroud was going to hit it and Griezmann took it away from him.
Yes, good from Mbappe. Once again, and a lovely weight of pass, but chance gone for France.
France 2, Australia 1. 10 minutes remaining in the first half. Your first commentary tomorrow on 5 Live and BBC Sounds is Morocco against Croatia, finalists against France 4 years ago. We've got a Mexican wave that is starting to make its way around the Al Janoub Stadium here at the moment as Tchouaméni, the 22-year-old, just running from left to right across the Australian midfield, and then Dembele's going to use his pace, knocks the ball past Behish, gets the cross in, Mbappe hits it, Giroud on the rebound, underneath the shot and smashes it over the bar.
Yeah, we've talked about Mbappe's threat off the left-hand side for France. How about that from Ousmane Dembele on the right-hand side? Set Behish up because he's like to come inside mostly this evening, but pushes the ball on the outside. Turns it into a race, and Dembele, super quick, fired the cross in right-footed. Mbappe shot blocked.
Goal kick Australia. They took the early shot lead, now trailing France by 2-1. And the idea of the Mexican wave really has taken off. It's making its way around this tall, two-tiered stadium at the moment, one with a retractable roof, which is not in place this evening. You can just see lots and lots of thick steel wires which are in place for the sort of tented roof to come across when required.
What would you say the shape of this stadium?
I think it looks like a cycling helmet from the outside, Chris, or I would say one of those fancy Belgian chocolates, which I'm probably not going to mention by name, but they look like the seashells. It's got that sort of look about it, this stadium here. France 2, Australia 1. Sliding challenge from Tchouaméni, concedes the throw. Australia get it on the right-hand side, and they've somehow just got to try and re-establish a bit of a footing in this game.
The crowd have turned up all of a sudden, haven't they? They were so quiet, wasn't it, early on?
Well, they got more excited about Mexican wave than they have actually about World Cup football, and a couple of good goals from the French. First from Rabiot, second from Giroud. They are leading by 2-1, and here's Kai Rolls, one of the two Australian centre-backs. Things calm down inside the stadium for a second. The Mexican wave is then applauded by the fans themselves who did it. Behish to Moy, back to Behish. France just stand off Australia at the moment, and Jackson Irvine comes deep, the number 22 for Australia. His light blue boots. Quick 1-2 with Riley McGree. Cross it comes here to Behish. Behish gets it back again from Kai Rolls.
And a standoff, isn't it, the last minute or so? Australia keeping the ball across the back, but France not pressing, letting the Australians have it, 10-20 yards outside their own box.
Here's Goodwin, lofts the ball down the left wing with his right foot. Tchouaméni's got it covered here for France. Mitchell Duke just stands in his way, so Tchouaméni turns away from him, holds him off, and then the pass is blocked by the shins of McGree. and that goes out for a throw into France on the right. France 2, Australia 1.
Interesting watching the French centre-half partnership, Upamecano and Konate, who would know each other pretty well from their time together at Leipzig.
Yeah, Lloris playing the ball now out to Konate. 3 of that French back four as it started this evening before Lucas Hernandez got injured. Now play for Bayern Munich, but 2 centre-backs, relatively untried at international level. Mbappe on the ball, dangerously, cross comes in, Dembele stretches, can't get it on target, and the ball spins off his right boot and goes wide for an Australian goal kick.
You feel for Neil Atkinson in that right-back position for Australia, because when Mbappe's driving at him and he's isolated, he's in big trouble, but Mbappe has that awareness, that presence of mind to spot Dembele in and around the penalty spot, with too much pace on the cross. Just bounced in front of Dembele and he couldn't get his shot on target.
Goal kick for Australia. Matt Ryan sees Behish coming towards him. Dembele sprinting to try and close that down. Nearly catches Ryan in possession. He got it back from Behish. Clears it up to the halfway line. Header is flicked forward by Matthew Leckie. Chouameni very nearly runs into Ibrahima Konate. The big centre-back got out of the way just in time, and now France in control of the football. Australia just back off. They're going to let France have it there inside their own half. Now they move into action as Chouameni comes jogging towards the halfway line. Across it comes to Upamecano. Upamecano finds Chouameni. Chouameni to his right. Pass to Pavard. Strokes the ball. Back to Konate. Across to Upamecano. Griezmann's making the run for him. Looking for Mbappe. He's found him. Theo Hernandez was sprinting beyond him. Mbappe doesn't release it, plays back to Griezmann, across here to Chouameni, midway inside the Australian half, and now Pavard. Little 1-2 with Chouameni, and you feel like France are just toying with the Australians at the moment.
There's a purpose to their passing up until then.
Interception from Chouameni, gets it straight back from Giroud. Dembele in space on the right-hand side. Danger for Australia again. Low ball in, can't find Mbappe. Griezmann gets a deflection on the clearance. The ball falls to Griezmann again inside the Australian half. Back to Pavard. Here's Griezmann. And Griezmann quickly swings his pass low to Upamecano. Upamecano to Chouameni. Chouameni, nice ball to Mbappe, who suddenly popped up on the right-hand side, wide to Dembele. That pass is behind Mbappe, cleared by Australia. Dembele again enjoying himself, running at Behish. Behish thought he was fouled. Dembele's beaten him. Dembele into the box, lays it back. Mbappe suddenly faced up by 3 golden shirts. Griezmann drives the shot wide. The laid-back came from Mbappe, and Griezmann's just hooked it wide of the near post.
Yeah, I think Behish, he's protesting with the assistant. He says he was fouled, but Dembele popping the ball into Mbappe. How many back heels have we seen from Mbappe in the first half to Griezmann, who runs onto it and he pulls his shot left-footed wide of Ryan's left-hand post, which should really work. Ryan there, the Australian goalkeeper, decent opportunity that.
France have really picked up after a sluggish start. Shock start to the game with Craig Goodwin giving Australia the lead. Looking forward to hearing more from Julien Laurent on 5 Live Sport this evening. French throw inside their own half, wide on the left. Theo Hernandez gets ready to take. Another player lost to injury for France this evening. Lucas Hernandez going off early, seemingly in some trouble with his right knee in the build-up to that Australian opener. Here's Griezmann inside his own half. Pass finds Konate. Konate running forward. That's a poor ball. He was looking for Mbappe. It was nowhere near him. That's a nice turn from Riley McGree for Australia. Goodwin plays back into his own half. Kai rolls across to Harry Souttar. Souttar to Atkinson now. Matthew Leckie. Back to Aaron Moy inside the Australian half. Mbappe goes jogging towards Kai rolls here. And now Jackson Irvine up the right to Atkinson. Atkinson infield to Moy. France work hard to win the ball back. Rabiot lays it off to Hernandez. Pass comes back to Upamecano and they work it back to goalkeeper Hugo Lloris.
I think that's the difference. You know, the French now when they're out of possession, working harder. And at this moment in time, it's wave after wave after wave. The Australian team need to be brave, though, and show for the ball, and they're not doing that. And it's very easy for France now. They've got a grip of this game finally.
Minute left in the first half. Big football news this evening. I was going to say away from the World Cup. Cristiano Ronaldo was at the World Cup, but if you haven't heard, Cristiano Ronaldo has parted ways with Manchester United, looking for a new club. No longer a Manchester United player. Reaction, of course, in your World Cup Daily podcast. If you're not subscribed to that, get to the BBC Sounds app and make sure you do it. Floated ball, looking for Griezmann, chests it down, flicks the cross in, and Mbappe volleys it over from 5 yards out when he looks certain to score.
How has he missed that? Mbappe, big smile on his face. It's a clever run from Griezmann, who pulls out on the right-hand side. And he makes it a darting run. Upamecano clips a ball in. Griezmann, one touch off his chest and feeds the ball outside of the left foot. It's beautiful for Mbappe, who, you know what, he can't miss that. 6 yards out centrally, right-footed Didier Deschamps cannot believe it. I mean, that's a mind the windows moment from Mbappe.
Deschamps probably thinking that's like my old mate Chris Sutton. Mbappe
No, I wasn't as quick as Mbappe.
Should have backheeled it, Chris. Shouldn't he?
What a miss.
Yeah, it was a bit. Should be 3-1. It's 2-1 to France, but they are...
Missing the tournament so far, do you think?
Could be, couldn't it? I mean, we've not done all the games, but, you know, very close range, laid on a plate for him. He was moving at speed. 6 minutes of added time. I mean, there's a bit of time lost to the early injury to Lucas Hernandez. That does seem a lot at the end of this first half. I'm sure Graham Arnold's going to be too delighted about that, the Australian head coach, unless Australia can come forward here and find an equaliser. Bahish plays it to the left. McGree trying to keep it in, gets the cross in to the far post, headed down! Oh, it's grazed the outside of the post. Jackson Irvine very nearly makes it 2-2.
Well, there you go, it's all it takes. The miss at one end from Mbappe. Jackson Irvine is so unlucky. It's a really good move on Australians' left-hand side. Bahish feeds the ball to O'Reilly, who just stands the ball up from the byline, and Irvine gets up. He must be 12 yards out, is going backwards, and he heads the ball back across Lloris, who isn't getting that, and it hits the post. Bounces once, hits the post. Agonising for Irvine and Australia.
Jackson Irvine very nearly making himself a hero, winning his 50th cap this evening. Born in Melbourne, he's got that sort of look of the Aussie larrikin about him as well, with the moustache, the thick bushy moustache on the top lip, a bit of the Cam Smith about him, if you know your golf. High rolls, centre back.
David Boone?
No, it's not quite Boone-like.
Merv Hughes?
Yeah, not quite that, of those proportions. France 2.
Give him time.
Australia 1.
It was a terrific header anyway, wasn't it?
It was.
No pace on the ball, just chipped up, and he has to generate the power and the accuracy, and Lloris was not getting that.
Very entertaining first half. Julien Laurent telling us, of course, before the game, France do go deeper into the tournament, slightly worried about how they will hold up defensively, and we've seen them breached early on in the game. Could very easily have been 2-2. Here's Aaron Moy, right-footed ball. Duke will chase it, but he can't keep that in. Wide down the left, Bahish was there as well, beyond him, and it goes out for a French throw. So 4 minutes of added time remaining. 5 Live and BBC Sounds. You're listening to France 2, Australia 1. We brought you already today Argentina 1, Saudi Arabia 2, Denmark 0, Tunisia 0, Mexico 0, Poland 0, and 4 more commentaries on the way tomorrow. Morocco against Croatia at 10. Germany, Japan, Chris and Ian Dennis with that one at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Spain get their World Cup underway at 4 o'clock UK time. Vicky Sparks alongside Rob Green for Spain against Costa Rica. And then Belgium, Canada in Group F is your 7 o'clock kickoff tomorrow night. Mitchell Duke chasing the long ball downfield. Konate's with him. Konate wins it, knocks it out of play. Australia win a throw late in this first half.
Got a really lovely range of passing. Harry Suter just stepping in and clipping another long ball. Duke on the end of it making a channel run. Australia win a throw.
3 minutes remaining, added time at the end of the first half. France leading Australia by 2-1. Rabiot can't quite win that back. Leckie holds him off. Leckie's ball out to the left-hand side, headed away by Pavard. Dembele, I think, will be able to keep this in. And he's ready to get motoring. And those Australian players are chasing him, but they're not going to catch him. Then eventually,
McGree did really well. Dembele was away from him.
McGree got there in the end, didn't he?
Task.
He did. Tchouameni back here to Konate. Konate across to Teo Hernandez. Had to run hard to keep that in. There's a little back heel from him to Mbappe. Anything you can do, I can do better. Mbappe and Tchouameni just have a couple of fairly superfluous little 1-2s, having a bit of fun. Mbappe ran towards him. France have it inside their own half. Upamecano under pressure. Comes across to Pavard. Pavard gives it back to Upamecano. France have been forced a little deeper into their own half here. And now they can start to work their way upfield. The ball at the feet of Ibrahima Konate. Pavard to his right finds Griezmann. Back to Tchouameni. Tchouameni just casually rolls the ball across the halfway line. Upamecano comes ambling forward. Pass out to the left to Hernandez. Mbappe sprints towards him. First touch, the best from Mbappe. Enabled Australia to take it off him. Here's Aaron Moy. Good run being made down the by Leckie. Then he stopped, and then Moy played the pass for the initial run.
Miscommunication there. Aaron Moy's had a pretty decent first half. I think the disappointment from Graham Arnold will be corner coming out, switching off, and then trying to play out from the back, and Atkinson with a heavy touch. That's the story of the first half, really. Got themselves in front, something to hang on to. But it's still there for them at 2-1. They've been hitting the post, but Mbappe should have scored for France.
Ball over the top from Upamecano. What a piece of control from Mbappe, teasing Atkinson. Oh, well done, Nathaniel Atkinson. Watched the ball all the way and made the tackle. Mbappe very nearly made him look foolish. It was Atkinson who lost it for the goal that has got France in front at half-time. Half-time whistle blows. Could so easily have been 2-2. Jackson Irvine's late header coming off the French post. They went behind it, the world champions. Craig Goodwin scoring in the 9th minute of the game. France losing their left back, Lucas Hernandez, to injury at that point. But they came roaring back. The header from Rabiot, and 5 minutes later, Olivier Giroud couldn't miss his 50th goal for his country. That, Chris Sutton's been a very entertaining first half, I would argue.
Yeah, it has, and big surprise, Australia taking the lead. France really didn't start with the desired intensity. Australia taking the lead. Good finish from Goodwin, and then a couple of mistakes from the Australians. Rabiot with a thumping header, and then Giroud, 36-year-old Giroud. Of course, a lot made about Benzema not making this tournament, and Giroud stepped up 2 under France at half-time.
Little rueful grin and shrug from Kylian Mbappe. That was the other chance that I forgot. 4 yards out, played in by Griezmann, and somehow he volleyed it over the bar. Good game this evening. France, the world champions, lead Australia by 2-1.
Ali, thank you very much. You and Chris will like this one. Duncan Alexander tweeted, as it stands, Olivier Giroud is the only player born before the BBC started showing Neighbours to score at the 2022 World Cup. Bit harsh on Australia, that is what he says. Olivier Giroud, born 30 September 1986. Neighbours first aired on October the 27th, 1986. But Australia more than holding their own in this game. I know France are in front, but Chris, as Ali's just been reflecting there in his summing up of the first half, Australia have had, if not the better of the game, but certainly the moments to be able to go in level.
Yes, they have. I think that they started well, and they got a bit of confidence from that. And of course, they get more confidence because of the goal. And then they have sat up France a little bit, but France didn't create too much. And the French first goal came from a corner, which was headed clear, and then it just switched off, marking men on the way out. Rabiot drifted in. It's 1-1, and then they tried to play out from the back. Atkinson with a heavy touch, and Mbappe with a lovely back heel, and Rabiot assisting this time. for Giroud, and then France have controlled it pretty much as expected. Australia know that France have superior players, so they've been really organised, they've worked hard, they've been difficult to play through, albeit France had the big chance, which I don't know how Mbappe missed it. Should have put them 3-1 up, but then the hope is that at 2-1 that they create another opportunity, which they did. And I thought Irvin was really unlucky with the header, hit the post. Lloris was well beaten, so Australia will go in at half time. I think there'll be a disappointment that they led, but now they are behind, but there'll also be a confidence that they haven't been too bad, they are still in the game and still have a chance.
Chris, thank you very much for now. We'll be back with Chris Sutton and Alistair Bruce Ball for the second half of that game. France leading Australia by 2-1 as they begin their defence of the World Cup. We'll have second half commentary, as I say, of the from the Al Janoub Stadium to come. We'll also have the very latest from Manchester United on Cristiano Ronaldo, and also a developing story at Old Trafford. That's coming up after the BBC News with Jill Mackenzie.
Take the World Cup with you. Qatar 2022.
On BBC Sounds, this is BBC Radio 5 Live.
More than 40,000 rail workers will strike before Christmas and early in the new year. The RMT union has announced a series of 48-hour walkouts in the continuing dispute over pay, conditions and job security. Alan Jones is the industrial correspondent for the Press Association. He says passengers have had enough.
They will be exasperated by this. It's going to throw so many plans out of the window now. Crucial time of year for travelling anyway, certainly travelling by rail this next month. And it's going to cause the biggest disruption. So, I think there is quite a decent view now that the government should be getting involved full time to try and get this sorted.
A 28-year-old woman from Nottingham has died 2 days after a fire that killed her 2 daughters. Fatoumata Haidara was taken to hospital after the fire at a flat on Sunday morning. A 31-year-old man remains in custody on suspicion of murder. The holding centre in Kent for asylum seekers who cross the channel in small boats is now empty. Complaints were made about the former military airfield at Manston, that it was overcrowded and migrants were being kept there for too long. 2 climate activists who glued themselves to a Vincent van Gogh painting at a London gallery have been found guilty of causing criminal damage to the frame. 22-year-old Louis McKechnie was jailed for 3 weeks. Emily Brocklebank, who's 24, was given a suspended sentence. And an angler from Kidderminster has been talking about the moment he caught a 67-pound fish in France. That's around 30 kilos. The carp looks like a giant goldfish and is nicknamed the Carrot. And Andy Hackett took 25 minutes to reel it in.
It's quite elusive, but you do see it jump in, and anglers do want to catch it, and you can see it obviously because it's so orange. You can see it if it's just under the surface, where normal fish you struggle seeing them if they're just under the surface, but the carrots, obviously, it's bright orange, so you can't miss it.
That's the 5 Live News. It's 3 minutes to 8.
For 7 decades,
Thousands of songs.
have soundtracked the lives of generations of us.
But there's only ever been
One official countdown.
marking the 70th birthday of the UK's official singles chart.
We're playing the most streamed number ones.
From 1952 to 2022.
That's 7 playlists bursting with hits. Compiled by the official charts company exclusively for BBC Sounds. The UK's official most streamed songs.
To listen, open BBC Sounds, tap music.
And play most streamed chart. BBC 5 Live.
The FIFA World Cup, Qatar 2022 with Kelly Capes.
Second half commentary to come from the Al Janoub Stadium, where it is France 2, Australia 1. France, the world champions, for another month at least. But just before this game kicked off, we brought you the news that Portugal forward Cristiano Ronaldo will leave Manchester United with immediate effect. It follows that controversial interview with Piers Morgan in which he criticised the club and said he had no respect for manager Erik ten Hag. Both parties have said that Ronaldo's exit was mutually agreed. It happened quite suddenly today, but as former Manchester United captain Rio Ferdinand has been telling me, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, definitely. I think when he mentioned on the 8th of August, I think it was, that he was going to reveal some of the details behind the scenes. This was almost like a ticking kind of time bomb waiting. And obviously the interview has been done. And I think both parties have got what they wanted. Cristiano, obviously, from listening to him, wanted to leave the club, wasn't happy with certain things. and has got his wishes, but I think also Erik ten Hag will be sitting there saying the same thing.
What do you think about the way that Cristiano's gone about it, doing the interview, revealing all the Manchester United secrets and his thoughts?
I think Cristiano, knowing Cristiano, he's an emotional guy. And I think he's very passionate about what he does. And I just think he just had in his mind that I'm not going to let any of these situations go since I've been here. And I think deep down he's thinking, yes, of himself, but also maybe forcing things for the betterment of the club going forward. And exposing a few things might put pressure on others. Maybe that's the only way. That's not what he's said to me at all in our conversations, but I'm presuming that may be the case. But as a player, I think, would he have been happy of someone else doing that in his team? I said initially, at the time on my podcast, I don't think he would have. But I think he felt he was pushed into a corner to do that in his own mind. And we are where we are now, and he's done it to get the outcome that he's got now.
Do you think he's bent the club to his will, in a way?
I don't think he's had to do too much bending. I think he put the club in a position where it was almost an untenable situation. So saying what he said, the club felt that there was only one way maybe that this could end, and he would, I think, be very much in agreement with that.
There's always the phrase, no player is bigger than the club. In the way that Cristiano Ronaldo has handled this, with the attention that's always focused on him, do you think he's acted that maybe he is, or feels that he is more important than the club?
I wouldn't say that, no. I think some people may look up from the outside and think that, but Cristiano is respectful of teammates, respectful of the club, respectful of what the club has given him over the years. Was it handled in a perfect situation? I think from both parties, no. But I think the end, you've got to look at this at the end game. They've got to where he wanted it to get to, and the club have got probably through the manager's eyes where they wanted to get it through to.
What does he do next? I mean, he was quite open in the interview about not maybe having the offers that he hoped or would have wanted to have had. What do you think his options are now?
I don't know. It's difficult. I think it's about, yes, what's on the table, but also I think what motivates Cristiano Ronaldo right now. Is it Champions League dependent where he goes? Is it money? Is it the size of the club? The potential to win? All these things I think will be factors, but only he'll be able to give us those answers. So I think it'll play itself out, and we've got to wait, really.
He's not a player who's ever had to compromise really in his career because of his talent. He's been able to have the career that he's chosen. Do you think now at this stage, at this age, at this point in his career, that he might have to compromise?
I think that's something that will have to be addressed. I think wherever he goes, I think that's going to have to be the conversation at the beginning. You don't sign Cristiano Ronaldo and then say, actually, we're going to treat you in this way that's different to what you're used to. I think at the front door, you've got to let him know where he's at, have that conversation in discussions and in negotiations, so that it's a very clear picture of what's coming down the line. Because I think anyone, whether you're a sportsman at the top of your game like Cristiano or any person, likes surprises. So I think staying away from that would be the key part.
How do you think Manchester United move forward from this? Does it help some of the younger players knowing that there isn't that huge presence there wanting their spot in the team?
I think there's a couple of ways to look at it. I think it's been interesting to see how the players react and what players blossom and grow. I've been at Man United before when big players left. Roy Keane left, and I saw many players grow in stature. And were allowed to breathe maybe a little bit easy because that pressure wasn't there. A different pressure that Roy Keane brings to Cristiano, but still pressure. And then there'll be some players that will be sitting there thinking, I wish he's still here because I was looking to learn and take more out of him, and as a person, as a player, as a professional, and the value that he brought in that element as well.
Obviously, we're here at the World Cup in Qatar. Portugal have got their first match on Thursday. The press conference beforehand is the manager and the captain. Are you going to be listening?
Is he captain?
Yeah.
A stupid question. But I think all eyes will be there. But Cristiano, he loves it like that. That's what he's used to. This man doesn't wake up any morning in his life since he's been 16, 17 years old thinking that the eyes and the ears of the media and the world are on him. So he's used to this. It's no different him going there now than it was before this mutual agreement with the club.
And knowing him the way you do, how do you think this might affect his performances for Portugal in this World Cup?
Motivation. That's it. I think he uses every situation. He'll find a way to use it as fuel. Whether it's a positive comment that he might spin into something that tees him up, or I think that's what great sportsmen do. Competitors do that. They find something in a comment. They find something in a situation that will enhance their performance, that will fuel a reaction. And this will be the same, I believe.
Do you suspect he just wanted this done before he kicks a ball for Portugal?
Yeah, of course. I think he wants to go into this with a clear head, and he's got his wishes.
That was Rio Ferdinand on Cristiano Ronaldo leaving Manchester United, and you've been in touch on social media as well. Sarah says, I think United are entirely to blame. Ronaldo had other offers and was persuaded to come back to United. They have let him down, and I'm not surprised he feels betrayed. Ten Hag has no class or respect for Ronaldo's history with United. Richard, though, says Erik Ten Hag has played this whole scenario masterfully. He's got what he wanted and come out smelling of roses. Thanks for the memories, Cristiano, but we're better off without you. But it's been a busy night at Old Trafford all round. There are now reports that the Glazer family are exploring the possibility of selling Manchester United. They've been in charge for 17 years that have not entirely been controversy-free. We can speak now to ESPN's Mark Ogden. Mark, there have been rumblings about this over the last few months. Is there anything official from Manchester United?
No, not tonight. And I think I'd treat it with a bit of caution at first. I think we do know that the Glazers, we've known for a while that they're looking for outside investment, primarily to help upgrade Old Trafford. Now, that situation remains the case, but I think it's a bit like Liverpool's sale. It's a case of all cards are on the table. It's investment is required, but unlike Liverpool, I think Liverpool's further down the line. I think the owners have now said they're looking for a potential new buyer. I think with United, it will only be sold if the Glazers get an offer that is so difficult to turn down. They have to take it, but primarily this is about seeking investment to help them get through the situation of having to upgrade Old Trafford.
So is this, the news becoming public, is it an attempt to kind of flush out possible investors?
I'm not so sure. I think we all know that the sale of Chelsea this summer made a lot of people realise there's a lot of money, particularly in the US right now, equity funds that are prepared to buy into football clubs. They see football clubs as a kind of a risk-free investment because while we may be heading into a recession, football clubs still make a lot of money from broadcast deals. They continue to bring more money in. So the interest in football clubs is massive. We've seen that with Liverpool. I think Liverpool will probably get a bigger price than Chelsea, and Man United even higher still. But I do think that the Glazers primarily want to hold on to United, and they will only sell if they get an offer that is just simply too good to refuse.
Mark, the timing's interested. Is that a coincidence that it's on the same night that they'd sort out their parting of the ways with Cristiano Ronaldo?
Getting their spring cleaning while the World Cup is going on. I'm not sure. I just think, that they have to be upfront with the New York Stock Exchange, so I don't think they can hold anything back. If they've got an announcement to make, they have to make it fairly quickly.
Mark Ogden, thank you very much for joining us. We'll keep an eye on that story, but we are going to head back to the second half of France, who are 2-1 up against Australia. With you for commentary, Chris Sutton and Alistair Bruce Ball.
Thank you, Kelly. Quite a lot going on in the world of football today. World Cup Daily Podcast will be a must-listen via the BBC Sounds app. The latest Match of the Day Top 10 pod is out as well. I saw that drop on my feed this morning. Greatest World Cup winning teams is the subject of the latest one of those. So get yourself to the BBC Sounds app and get yourself subscribed to those two pods. And BBC Sounds, of course, a fabulous way to listen to this World Cup on BBC Radio 5 Live, because I don't think, Chris, anyone can be at home all day, game after game after game. So useful things, you can take it with you wherever you go.
Take it with you wherever you go, wherever you are.
Wherever you may be.
Wherever you go, yeah, and we've got our little game, haven't we? Would I Lie to You, Bruce?
Correct.
Which is going well for you.
Yes, another one of those has popped up on social media today. So ahead of every commentary we're doing, Chris is setting me a little test. It's called Would I Lie to Bruce? Clever title that. I think the Sutton family sort of combined and came up with that one. And so far, I've actually managed to pass the test both times. If I fail, go and have a watch of these on social media. If I fail, there is something rather nasty coming my way, but it's not happened as yet. Minute gone then, in the second half here at the Al Janoub Stadium. France 2, Australia 1. Kylian Mbappe's definitely been enjoying himself this evening. He has been tackled here on the halfway line. Lecky, outside of his right foot, finds Irvine. Irvine's cross makes its way into the French penalty area. Sliding effort from Riley McGree. Couldn't make proper contact with the ball, but Lecky still has it for Australia. Comes wide to Irvine. Run made down the right by Atkinson, the right back. Atkinson is blocked by Upamecano. Still got it though. 2 French defenders with him. Wins the corner.
Do you know, really good persistence from Atkinson. They're a strange team, the French, aren't they? I mean, they started the game like they're entitled, super arrogant, never got started. And they've started. Look, we're a minute into the second half. Let's not get carried away, but really lax start from them, and Australia have an opportunity in this corner.
Look out for Harry Souttar here, 6'7".
He's
big fella. 6 goals in 10 caps ahead of this game tonight. All of those from set pieces, totally unsurprising. Gave a really moving interview I saw actually ahead of this game tonight. His first World Cup, only recently in this Australian squad, a former Scotland youth international, playing his club football in Scotland as well. Let's keep an eye on him here. We're now playing at Stoke in the Championship, of course, as Goodwin delivers that corner into the penalty area. Griezmann with a low diving header away. Mbappe will chase it. Bahish is there, Australia's left back, and they are defending the goal away to our left hand side. And a little bit like the start of the first half as well, the crowd have kind of gone to sleep at the start of the second half, so it's quiet again inside the stadium.
There is a bit of, within football though, the players have to entertain the crowd, and I think, mostly the French support, and they want to see their team perform. Nice touch though from Griezmann.
Yeah, to Pavard. Giroud tries to get it back to Pavard. Stopped on the corner of the Australian penalty area. Jumps into a challenge. Can't tackle Bahish. Bahish passes the ball straight out of play. That'll be a French throw on the right. The interview with Harry Souttar was talking about an elder brother of his, Aaron, who actually very sadly died, suffered with motor neurone disease, died at the age of 42. He's got a tattoo of him on his body, as well as a tattoo, I think, of the Australian badge as well. And he spoke very movingly about what it was going to mean to him. And he's actually just back from a horrible knee injury. I mean, he didn't think he was going to make the World Cup, so it's one of those really moving personal stories that you will often get at the World Cup, and there's so many of them about, and that one is Harry Souttar, who we're watching in the middle of this Australian defence, trying to keep France at bay. Australia are still in this game, 4 minutes gone in the second half. France leading by 2-1, and Upamecano wanting some movement ahead of him. Teo Hernandez makes the run, chests it down into the penalty area on the left, cuts it back, it's behind Mbappe and Griezmann. Chouameni shoots low, might fall to Giroud, didn't quite. Bahish hacks it away for Australia. Mitchell Duke can't control it, so France win it again inside the Australian half. And here's Upamecano outside of his right foot. That's a lovely pass to Teo Hernandez. Hernandez, one touch, gets his head up, cross comes in. Giroud with the bicycle kick, and it's just wide of the post. What an effort!
Shouldn't be doing that at 36, should he? Brilliant athleticism. It's a great run down the left-hand side from Hernandez, who just stands the ball up and has a little look at first, picks Giroud out. I mean, that so acrobatic. Catches it flush as well. I don't know from our angle, don't know how far it went past the post, but here we go. A couple of yards, but wonderful technique.
Yeah. I'm not sure strictly, actually, bicycle kick was quite right. It was sort of scissor volley, but he's miles in the air as he executes the skill. Would have been an absolutely fabulous goal. Australia now with the ball forward looking for Mitchell Duke, but Upamecano is there. Lloris side foots it up the middle of the pitch. Rabiot slips and Riley McGree is onto it. McGree passes to his left. Here's Australia's goal scorer Craig Goodwin. Plays back to Celtic's Aaron Moy. Moy turns and works it out to the right-hand side. Irvine plays wide to Lecky. Atkinson makes the run beyond him. Lecky keeps moving into that French penalty area. Rabiot is there to pass the ball out for France. But there was a foul on the edge of the French box, and France will get a free kick. And I can give you the two team lineups at the start of the second half. Hugo Lloris in goal. Back four of Pavard, Canate, Upamecano, and now Teo Hernandez, because Lucas Hernandez's brother went off with the early injury. Chouameni and Rabiot as the central midfield pairing for France. Dembele, Griezmann, Mbappe and Giroud. playing as the number 9 through the middle. Australia have Matt Ryan in goal, Nathaniel Atkinson, Kai Rolls, Harry Souttar, Aziz Bahish as their back four. Aaron Moy in the holding role in front of the defence. Jackson Irvine and Riley McGree in central midfield. Goodwin and Leckie either side of Mitchell Duke. Dembele fizzes a ball across the face of the Australian box, couldn't quite find Mbappe. Rabiot gets it to Mbappe now. Mbappe against Atkinson, he beats him on the inside. Mbappe then floats the cross towards the far post. Bahish jumps and heads it away. Griezmann heads it to his right. Australia intercept. Here's Irvine. Irvine passes up towards the halfway line. Goodwin can't control it, and away it goes for a French throw.
Yeah, but the Aussies are still in this, aren't they? You know, they'll go to the end, and from France's point of view, they want to get that next goal to give them a little bit of breathing space. But similar story of the first half, isn't it? Both teams have set up the same. Australia, that back four, Moy just in front of them, screening the ball into Giroud, sitting deep, defending their own box, then trying to break out and counter.
Teo Hernandez is knocked over by Jackson Irvine. Referee didn't like it. A couple of short, sharp blasts on the whistle. Irvine said, I got the ball. France do get the free kick. I remember actually, Chris, 4 years ago, you and I did France 4, Argentina 3 in the cooking pot in Kazan. That was the first time I'd seen Mbappe live, and he was absolutely breathtaking.
Yeah, he's quite good, isn't he?
Yes, exactly. I think Statman Dave actually, didn't he say to his head of the tournament?
Well, brilliant stuff from the Statman. I love his stuff, but yeah, said to watch out for France's Mbappe. Extraordinary prediction. Danger man.
8 minutes gone in the second half. Plenty of Statman Dave on the World Cup Daily podcast. As Mbappe takes the free kick. I think he's over.
Watch out for that. That's awful. Wide hits Statman Dave. Big Mbappe up.
But do you remember also that day, because it was France-Argentina, it was sort of the crossing of the generations. Mbappe is the teenager, Messi was on the pitch on the day. We didn't know whether that would be his final World Cup. It isn't. He is here as well. But today, of course, Messi's Argentina have lost to Saudi Arabia by 2-1. And Mbappe's France are leading Australia here by 2-1. France were to win this group, and Argentina were to finish runners-up in Group C. You would then have a last 16 game of France against Argentina.
Yeah, you've done your homework, Bruce, haven't you?
Sometimes I do, Chris. Ball is back with Souttar. Souttar, little 1-2 with Irvine. Back to a sort of snail's pace at the moment. Moy.
See, Griezmann, out of possession, he does absolutely nothing, just swans around, doesn't put Moy under pressure. Moy just looking up, playing a little ball around him.
Australia working it to the left. Oh, Mitchell Duke, that's
this
a bad
could be
one.
trouble.
Bad challenge. Went in really hard on Dembele. He lost control of the ball. He chased it, threw himself at it, and he's caught him, and that's a yellow card.
Well, I mean, we're a long way away from this, but I wonder how high does he go? Not that high. Yellow card. Spot on. Gets the ball away, and it's one of those. Centre forward is just lunging to try and make up his error.
It's a yellow card for the Duke.
Yeah, good Australian name, isn't it?
Mitchell Duke. 9 minutes gone, second half. France 2, Australia 1. Final World Cup commentary of the day on 5 Live and BBC Sounds for you. But back for your 10 o'clock first commentary tomorrow. Morocco against Croatia, and Rick Edwards live from Doha on the breakfast show from 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, starting to build up to all the action. Some of the other big teams getting involved for the first time in this World Cup tomorrow. Germany, Spain and Belgium are all playing. Jurgen Klinsmann's going to be on the breakfast show. They might even do the Baubles Challenge with him, Chris, maybe. Name those
what
players.
would that be? What would that be in Germany?
No idea.
Do you not know what Baubles are in Germany?
No, or Challenge, I know. Got a little
do you want to have a go?
No. Australia are making a change, which is going to save me. Jason Cummings. Jason Cummings is...
I do believe he's played for Scotland.
Correct. 2 caps for Scotland.
How does that work?
2 friendly appearances for Scotland. Has now switched allegiance to Australia. Scored on his Australian debut recently at Eden Park in Auckland in a win against New Zealand.
I've seen a lot of him. He's up in Scotland for Hibs. He's a talented, really talented player. Doesn't have great pace. Very confident player. Got a lovely left foot though. Very measured, but he needs pace in and around him to get the best out of him.
Slick back, blonde hair, tries to win an early flick on. White socks with the Australian team kit rolled down, and he's backing into...
He's having himself.
Is that what you're saying,
yeah.
Chris?
And he'd eat himself, Bruce.
As you say, scored prolifically for Hibs in the Scottish Championship, 2014 to 2017. Won a Scottish Cup.
Yeah, I think he dinked a penalty.
Did he?
Just in the back of my memory somewhere.
Yeah.
Dink a penalty in a big game.
So were Australia to get one this evening against the world champions, do you think?
A 2-1.
Try and dink Lloris, possibly. 12 minutes gone, second half. France 2, Australia 1. Griezmann side foots a ball back to Konate. Wide to Pavard. Here's Ousmane Dembele, who is such an exciting player to watch. Rabiot.
You always feel there's more to come with him, though, don't you?
Yeah. But some of the skills, some of the speed, like Mbappe as well. There's some real talent. I mean, it goes without saying in this French squad as Rabiot holds off the challenge of McGree, plays it back here to Konate. Quick pass out to the right-hand side. Let's see what Dembele's got here. Using the speed again, cuts infield, stops for a second, onto his left foot, curls the cross in towards the far post. Can't find Theo Hernandez. Mbappe is there, gets to the ball first and just lays it back here to Upamecano. Passes the ball past Cummings to Rabiot. France very comfortable at the moment, but as Chris was saying, I think would like the cushion.
It's one of those, if Australia can hang on in there, keep it at 2-1, and France may get a little bit nervy the last 10-15 minutes. That's why Australia aren't being expansive and really pressing the French high.
Dembele just outside the Australian penalty area on the right. Two Australian players challenging him. Gets away from them, flicks a little ball back to Konate, across to Upamecano, and now Hernandez. France in the dark blue shirts, gold letter and gold numbers on the back, white shorts and red socks, and in this second half playing from right to left as we're looking at it, towards the main body of their fans, and all those tricolours draped over the front of the lower tier of this stadium. Australia can't get a kick at the moment. Rabiot to Dembele.
France aren't going anywhere, can't get a kick, but they're saying, well, we're happy for you to play in front of us. Now putting a bit of a press on.
And Konate's knocked the ball straight out of play, so that worked for Australia, staying in the game at the moment. France leading Australia by 2-1.
Just, my producer George has just passed us the Jason Cummings dink, and he dinked over the bar.
Here's Rabiot. He's having a good game for France. On the left, gets that cross in. It's just beyond Giroud, but Dembele's behind him, right on the corner of the box. Plays it back to Griezmann. Griezmann, lovely. Velvet first touch. Mbappe goes for another back heel looking for Griezmann. Couldn't find him. Australia clear. Hernandez ducks under the clearance, and away it goes for a throw into France.
This must be a world record for back heels from Mbappe.
Yeah. To ask Julien what the term is for back heeling.
Well, we don't know baubles in German.
Well, no.
We don't know
back heel in French.
In French,
No.
you know a bit of French, don't you, Bruce?
I do, but not back heel. It's a bit too technical, too specific for me. That is Rabiot. Ball nearly got away from him. Passes to his right. Pavard, who scored the goal of the tournament at the last World Cup. In that,
yeah, we were there, right behind it.
In that France-Argentina game I'm talking about. Pavard, ball on the bounce, cutting across it from about 25 yards out. Absolute screamer. Chouameni goes down, stays down. Advantage played to France here. Oh, a little back heel this time from Giroud. Looking for Mbappe, sliding challenge on him. A really important one from Rolls, and actually the referee has given a goal kick, so Mbappe must have got the last touch.
Yeah.
No, he's changed his mind.
He has changed his mind, but I tell you what, Rolls did brilliantly. I mean, Mbappe so hard to stop. Clever little touch from him initially. Really great awareness on the inside channel, round the corner. Back heel from Giroud, and Mbappe looked like he was going to get there and finish, but Rolls, superb challenge. I think corner was just about right.
This is the corner. Mbappe will take it. and the whistle blows just before he strikes the ball because the referee not happy with something. I'm not even mentioning the referee by name this evening. That's very rude of me.
That is
Victor Gomez, Chris, South African.
Deserves better.
Teaches classical music in his spare time.
Is he?
Yep. Here's Mbappe with a corner into the near post. Griezmann trying to get on the end of it. It's cleared.
Wasn't a classical corner there. Is it? Are you a classical man, Bruce, with your education and what have you?
Well, I'll listen to some, Chris. I've not put any on.
Who in particular?
Oh, my favourite hits. No, I've not put any on in the apartment as yet. You're more of an 80s man, aren't you? I've heard you singing in the shower over here, actually. What was it? It was Together in Electric Dreams today you were singing, wasn't it?
Stay out of my room.
16 and a half minutes gone in the second half, and Mbappe might get onto the ball again on the left-hand side. Desperate for a goal this evening, holding off Nathaniel Atkinson, who's having a right job trying to look after him. Mbappe runs away from him. Pass is very nearly too short. Pavard saved him and keeps it for France. Now Upamecano can see Hernandez in space. Hernandez, low ball, cut back into the penalty. Mbappe's shot, that's blocked. Might fall to Griezmann. Tries to bring it down out of the sky, and that will go behind 4. Corner to France.
Hernandez, really good outlet, isn't he, on this French left-hand side as the ball crossed in. Aaron Moy just did enough to put Mbappe off. France dominating, but they've not got that crucial third goal to give them a little bit of breathing space.
17 minutes gone, second half. France attacking the goal, all their fans behind it. Griezmann's corner with climb in the middle of the penalty area from Canate, but he can't get the header on target, so it goes behind for a goal kick. France 2, Australia 1, and Live It Up was the other one I heard early in the tour, Chris. But I don't know who sings that. I couldn't remember who sings that. I had a feeling it was an Australian band though, which would be out for this evening, but maybe our listeners will be able to get in touch and let us know. Would you be able just to give us a little, just to remind people how it goes?
I've not had a beer yet, Bruce.
18 minutes gone, second.
I like a sing in the shower.
Yeah, I know you do. I know.
I think most people do, don't they?
They do. Throw in France on the left, leading Australia by 2 goals to 1, opening the defence of their trophy they won in Russia 4 years ago. And Lloris very nearly caught by Cummings in possession, clears just in time. What a lovely ball from Pavard with the outside of his right foot, nearly gets Dembele away down the right. Stays in play for Australia. Here's Moy. Moy tricks it onto his right foot, turns away from Giroud, runs into trouble. Griezmann is there. Plays to Tchouaméni. Tchouaméni's taken a few bumps and bangs. He's knocked over. Free kick, picks himself up and takes that quickly. Then Upamecano, curling pass into the path of Mbappe. The flag has stayed down. Mbappe works it onto the right foot, blasts the shot into the legs of Atkinson, who blocks it well. Hernandez comes scurrying in to take possession for France.
I'll tell you what about Atkinson. Okay, is it a really difficult evening? I think we all expected that. But he's game, isn't he? Gets back up, dusts himself down, and gets himself out there. There's a really good block from him.
France in possession with Tchouaméni. Still got Camavinga, of course, to get into World Cup action at some point. Real Madrid team. Oh, he's been caught again by Irvine.
I like Irvine though.
Yeah.
I
no
really
foul given.
No. I think he did win the ball. But he's super aggressive. He's not standing off the French players. Why should he?
Yeah.
Make it uncomfortable for them. I think he did win the ball, but the follow through caught Tchouaméni.
Yeah. Have you seen much of Tchouaméni for Real Madrid this season, Chris?
A little bit, sort of at Celtic Park.
Yeah.
Really talented player, isn't he? And Camavinga, I saw Camavinga a few years ago for, I think it was Rennes, I think I'm right in saying that, and just as he was making his way as a 16-year-old, and all the talk was back then that he was going to turn into a top player. So look, I think it's fair to say we know no Kante, no Pogba for France, but opportunity for these young players, these young talented players to really make a name for themselves, which I suppose they are already in club football, this international level. And they were my tips, or they are still my tips to win it, France. We were discussing today, it's a strange tournament, isn't it?
Yeah.
Could it be a team which haven't won?
Never won it.
The World Cup before.
Yeah, there's 8 who've done it, Chris. And yeah, that's possible. I mean, we were watching the Netherlands last night. Louis van Gaal thinks they could be one. They've never won it.
They weren't great, were they? But just did enough.
Did enough, yeah. Here's Rabiot. Rabiot scoring the equaliser for France this evening. 21 minutes gone second half. Chouameni's back on his feet. The game is back underway. Graham Arnold, the Australian head coach, is out to the edge of the pitch, hands behind his back, watching his team trying to defend here as Griezmann turns away from Moy. Little 1-2 with Giroud, then Griezmann chips the pass to Hernandez on the left. Hernandez looking for Mbappe, gets it back to Hernandez with the cover, and then Griezmann hits the shot, blocked on the line. Absolutely incredible defending from Vihish to keep the scoreline at France 2, Australia 1.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. How good was the move, though, down that left-hand side. Quick little 1-2 and the pull back, and Griezmann must have thought he scored. We thought he'd scored, and then all of a sudden from nowhere, Vihish back on his line.
Oh, Hernandez, lovely ball to Mbappe. The angle's tight, he drives it across goal. Very difficult to find the bottom corner there. It's actually gone all the way out to the right to Dembele. Dembele's teasing defenders again, finds Mbappe who heads it in and has his first goal at this World Cup in Qatar. Leaps with joy to celebrate with his teammates, leapt beautifully to get on the end of the cross and has bulleted it in off the post to make it France 3, Australia 1.
Wonderful header, right winger to left winger. Dembele, who's had a decent evening, on his left foot, right hand side, feeds the ball in. What a leap from Mbappe. Good pace on the cross, but he still directs it in off the far post. Pretty much game over now. Can't see Australia coming back in it, but Mbappe finally makes his mark. Initially he crossed the ball in, but there were no takers, but Dembele just creates a little half a yard for himself. It's the angle. Vihish can't stop the cross. He should do better, but tremendous leap. No chance for Ryan. Off the far post. Suter reacts too late. France are turning up.
Yeah, Mbappe off the mark at this World Cup. 4 goals as a teenager 4 years ago as France went on to win the trophy, scoring in the final as well. And now his first goal at this tournament. How many more to come? France 3, Australia 1. And when they step it up, and then, as you were saying, Chris, the move just before that, when the infant's clinical line, they play some absolutely sizzling stuff. And Mbappe's really playing with a smile on his face as well.
He always does, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Mostly.
He does. And why wouldn't you?
My old partner, who I shared a hotel with for 3 months, celebrating in his technical area.
Didier Deschamps. Trying to win back-to-back World Cups for the French. They lead Australia by 3 goals to 1. The tricolour waving away to our left-hand side. Will be on air with you through until 10 o'clock this evening, discussing all the World Cup stories of the day. The news as well that Cristiano Ronaldo, it's official, has now left Manchester United, and all that'll be wrapped up for you in the World Cup Daily podcast, available.
I know that's big news, but are we really all
surprised?
Shocked?
Not shocked, Chris, no. But it is big news, isn't it? Vihish has lost it on the left for Australia.
Oh, Big Ed, big news.
Vihish takes the throw, and we'll see him in action in a couple of days' time. Portugal against Ghana. Ball into that French penalty area, just bounces off Lecky. He was stooping to try and control it and couldn't quite do so. Hernandez, good speed down the left. Oh, that's got to be a yellow card, hasn't it? Jackson Irvine's just kicked him up in the air.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that he hasn't been booked, and so's Kylian Mbappe, who's having a word with the referee, and Jackson Irvine.
Talking about Ghana playing at this World Cup, this stadium, Chris, is going to host the Uruguay-Ghana game, which is one of the big sort of grudge games in the group stages because of what happened in the quarter-final in 2010. Luis Suarez with the handball on the goal line.
Oh, he was unlucky, wasn't he?
And then celebrating as Ghana missed the penalty, celebrating from the tunnel, having been sent off.
Do you think people bear grudges from that?
Do you think they'll remember it? I think they might. So that game will be live on 5 Live. It'll be played inside this stadium. Mbappe Tries to leave Atkinson for dead. Does him once, does him a second time as well. Crosses the ball in, and Giroud has equalled Thierry Henry's record. Gets his second goal of the game. France lead Australia by 4-1, but Giroud, overwhelmed by the achievement as well, he's taken a whack to the head. He's got a huge smile, grinning from ear to ear. That is a very special moment for him, and France are now running riot. France 4, Australia 1.
Outstanding play from Mbappe on that left-hand side. Feel for Neil Atkinson. He's one-on-one, and Mbappe simply unstoppable. I don't know any defender who could stop him in that situation. Just goes on the outside on his supposed weaker left foot, stands the ball up to Giroud, 6 yards out. How many times have we seen this sort of finish from Giroud? It's a powerful header, really good header. Ball stood up, generates the power past Matt Ryan. Wonderful cross, bread and butter for Giroud. He's an outstanding player, great career that he's had, and he wants to make his mark as well in this tournament.
Yeah, well, that's 2 goals for him tonight. That is the record for France, all-time top scorer equal. Henry on 51, Giroud on 51. By the way, Kylian Mbappe is already on 29. This tonight is 60th cap, so he's just teamed up for Giroud there, but I wouldn't be too surprised if Mbappe goes flying past that if he stays fit at some point in his career. France, an incredibly potent team. We knew they were going to be. Australia have made a change here.
Missed that.
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what. This is the 18-year-old. So this is the youngest Australian ever to play at a World Cup. This is Garang Kuol, who is going to be joining Newcastle, Chris, in January. So we're going to get a little look at him. Currently plays for the Central Coast Mariners.
Double substitution for Australia, number 40.
We just waiting to kick the game off again, so I thought they'd made the change. A little bit of confusion here. Yeah, so they're making a double change here, aren't they? Great, good win.
I think they had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's say they had 12 players on the pitch. That was the issue, Bruce. That's cheating.
Yeah. Nice try from Australia.
It's clever, that.
Yeah, they didn't fall for
Arnold.
France 4, Australia 1. 18-year-old Garang Kuol is on the field, so we'll keep an eye on him. Great opportunity for him. The game obviously gone for Australia here. He's taken up position wide on the right-hand side, and he's going to get the ball from Moy, but Hernandez beats him to it. The pass now reaches him. Kuol, little figure, looking for the run of Cummings down the right. The pass is beyond him, and it goes behind for a goal kick. So he's slight. He wears the number 21.
Maybe we're seeing now that the future of Australian football. Speaking to Harry Kewell earlier in the media centre, I said before the game, it's what this Australian team are lacking, that star player. They've had some great stars in the past.
Mbappe at full fly just caught a ball down the left-hand side.
Somebody's got to double up. Atkinson did really well then.
He tried to nutmeg him.
Yeah, he did, but he's got to get help.
Ball played back by Upamecano to Hugo Lloris. 16 minutes to play. France 4, Australia 1. No World Cup shock here today. There was a big one earlier on. Saudi Arabia beating Argentina by 2-1.
Just, Garang Kuol has come on that right-hand side, and he's playing in front of Atkinson, but needs to learn the defensive side of the game as well, because they'll keep feeding the ball to Mbappe.
Yeah.
And Mbappe will keep running at Atkinson. As I said, I don't think anybody can stop Mbappe when he's in that sort of flow.
It was actually a double change for Australia, because you can see that Awer Mabil is on, and he's taken up position over on the left-hand side. He's another extremely creative, talented footballer that Australia do have in their ranks. Aiden Hrustic, another one as well, who now plays his club football for Verona in Italy. France waiting to make a double change of their own, leading Australia by 4-1. Long ball forward for Atkinson to chase. Hernandez has it covered, and he lets it roll behind for a goal kick to France. So just in terms of the talent France have to come on the field, Kingsley Coman is one of them coming on. Youssouf Fofana is another one. Some of our listeners may not be too familiar with him. Former teammate of Tchouameni's at Monaco. Fofana is still at Monaco. He'll be winning only his third cap this evening. And it's actually Tchouameni who is coming off for him. So those two exchange handshakes. Kingsley Coman gives Tchouameni a big hug as well. And Ousmane Dembele is the other player to come off the field. So Kingsley Coman, highly decorated.
This is it with France. You know, they're coming into the tournament and quite rightly, you know, we're saying, oh, they're depleted, and they bring on Kingsley Coman.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not bad. It's not bad, sub.
They've got a seriously strong squad. Hugo Lloris is waiting to take the goal kick. More from Julien Laurent in the final hour of the show tonight on France's performance, France's prospects. Griezmann's gone down holding his head. He jumped with Irvine for the header, picking himself up. Players continued, and the ball's gone out for a throw into Australia on the left-hand side, who made such a wonderful start to this game. Scored in the 9th minute. France were rocked. Craig Goodwin got them in front, and France have responded with some bursts of real quality to put this game to bed. Ball headed away by Canate, Rabiot. Ball now with Upamecano across here to Hernandez. Mbappe's not made the run away down the left, so Hernandez just stops and plays back to Upamecano. 13 minutes to go in the game. Rabiot in field to Griezmann. Oh, it's another back heel.
We actually need a back heel count.
We do. A back heeler meter. Now here's Lecky on the right. Barged over by Olivier Giroud, centre forward defending on the edge of his own penalty area. And so that'll be a free kick to Australia. Back heeling French, we've got it, and it's actually come from our man Julien Laurent. Hang on.
You got the first part wrong.
Hang on. Une talonnade.
Do you want to check that before you say that?
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about that, actually. I could have said anything there. No, Jules is a good guy. He wouldn't do that. Could be now, couldn't I? Could have offended a lot of people with that. Free kick for Australia. Aaron Moyes killed it into the penalty area. Canate's won the first header. Griezmann leaps to win the second. Lecky plays a ball back to the halfway line to the Hish. So you're learning something in our World Cup commentary this evening as well. Talonnade, and we've seen plenty, beaucoup de talonnade. A lot of, Chris. Back heels from Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah, just talking, you know, said a couple of occasions about, you know, this Australian team lacking their sort of star players, you know, your Vidukas, your Cools, your some Cahills. We had a little quiz earlier, didn't we, about great Australian players.
Yeah.
Two Australian players to win the Premier League. There have only been two, Bruce.
Yeah, you got me with that one, didn't you? Here's Upamecano trying to dribble out of the back for France. And he's on his way, and Jackson Irvine has tricked him. Is he finally going to get booked? Yes, he is. Well, it's like an invisible card. He was holding it at an angle, we couldn't actually see it, but that is a yellow card. So that is Victor Gomez.
So we'll put that one out to the listeners.
Yep, okay. Deal with that in the last hour of the show. So you're saying that there's only two Australian players who've been part of the Premier League winning squads.
And one of them played in France.
Okay, well, let's see if Julien can get that one in the last hour of the show.
You have to go on Google to get that, Julien.
France 4, Australia 1. Meccano plays to Rabiot. Rabiot got the equaliser. Mbappe's got his goal this evening. Olivier Giroud has two. He's equalled that record of Thierry Henry's. Next one he scores, he will be France's all-time record goal scorer. I'm sure he'd love to do it with a hat-trick and keep the match ball in this opening World Cup group game. Rabiot trying to curl a pass into the path of Hernandez down the left-hand side. Now here's the 18-year-old Quol running with the ball at his feet, crosses the halfway line, plays it to Lecky, trying to give it back to him.
He's absolutely rapid, Quol, isn't he?
Yeah. And here's Harry Souttar. And across to Harry Rouse, his fellow centre-back, the Hish. Now wide to Nabil on the left-hand side. France quite happy with this, though. Just keeping Australia penned in their own half. 10 minutes remaining in the game. Australia leading France by 4 goals. I beg your pardon, France leading Australia by 4 goals to 1. You weren't going to stop me there either, were you?
No, I've had a long couple of days.
Suter. Chris in action again tomorrow. He'll be with Ian Dennis for Germany against Japan. We've got commentary on that one. It's your 1 o'clock kickoff.
That's my left field prediction.
For Japan to beat Germany.
Yeah. Japan have some good technical players.
Behish to Irvine. Irvine's giving it away. Here's Coman. Giroud is interested. Coman's passed it beyond him to Mbappe. Mbappe, edge of the area, step over. Drag back onto his right foot. Oh, Giroud is lining himself up for another one of those acrobatic volleys. The cross didn't reach him. Coman now heading for the byline on the right-hand side. Giroud's got the scent of the hat-trick and the record in his nostrils. You can sense it from up here. There's Fofana.
His nostrils?
Yes. That's where you get the scent of something, don't you? What would you say? What are you laughing at? You should know. Hernandez. Back to Upamecano. France 4, Australia 1. Fofana. Cross to Pavard. Fofana again to Coman. Tiring Australian defenders, I'm sure, not enjoying this. Griezmann tries to flick a pass into the feet of Coman. It right run to Mbappe. Mbappe, oh, he nearly got away from Moy.
With that challenge from Moy.
Caught him on the ankle, didn't he? But now he's suddenly alive again. Oh, Griezmann's ball finds Mbappe and he couldn't control it. And Matt Ryan slides out and grabs it.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Mbappe was hobbling about, and then it's like a miracle, wasn't it? As that ball was turned over and the ball clipped through to him, and
that's a foul.
He just took a heavy touch.
That was Garang Kuol committing the foul on Theo Hernandez. Keanu Bacchus is getting ready to come on for Australia, as is Milos Degenek. A couple of late changes for the Socceroos. 8 minutes remaining in the game. France now coming forward and looking for a fifth. Here's Rabiot to Griezmann, to Mbappe. Pass misses Rabiot, has to slide in and challenge Cummings, and the ball runs loose into the French half. Stadium has fallen silent again late on in this game. Kanate, little 1-2 with Fofana. We're back into that sort of training ground mode at walking pace at the moment. Hernandez, left-hand side for France, just inside the Australian half. Upamecano caresses the ball with his right boot wide to Pavard. Kanate forward to Griezmann. Irvine is there. Now on the yellow card, so he's got to be a little bit more careful. Coman. Infield to Fofana. Griezmann involved again. Left foot ball back into the French half. Across it comes. Just moving this Australian defence across the field. Theo Hernandez to Mbappe. Little 1-2 between the pair. Giroud comes running towards them to get involved. Mbappe back to Upamecano. Casually strokes it across to Kanate, who's completely overhit it and driven the ball over the head of Coman and out for a throw into Australia on the left. So Keanu Bacchus is another fella who plays his football in Scotland, St Mirren player, who is going to be coming on for Jackson Irvine, who has picked up that yellow card in this second half, and Nathaniel Atkinson, who's really stuck to the task this. I mean, that is a nightmare position right back for Australia tonight, up against one of the very best players in the world, and he is replaced by Milos Degenek for Australia, who wears the number 2, and he's going to try and look after Mbappe for the closing stages of this game.
Yeah, Nathaniel Atkinson he'll sleep well tonight, or maybe he won't. Maybe he'll dream about Mbappe running at him. More of a nightmare.
Yes. Moy's ball down the right to Kwang. Kwang uses that pace just to dart through a little gap created by Hernandez and Rabiot. Moy plays back into midfield. There is Bacchus. Bacchus cross to Behish. Mabille down the left. Pass intercepted by Coman. Plays it back here to Kanate. Kanate brings the ball out from the back for France, but then the pass is beyond Pavard and it goes out for an Australian throw. 5 minutes to play plus added time. Staying with you through until 10 o'clock this evening on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. As Upamecano wins the ball again. Strong challenge from him inside his own half. Used the ball decently as well this evening as Upamecano. Plenty of fans heading for the exits now. And France getting ready to make another double change as Coman passes the ball.
It's actually hard, isn't it, to keep up with all these,
I know.
all these subs.
Yeah.
It's quite selfish of the managers.
Marcus Thuram is one of them who's going to come on, who's Lilian Thuram's son, who was...
Mönchengladbach, isn't he?
He is, yeah, indeed. His father, a very useful player for France, former World Cup winner, and Jules Koundé, the other one to come on at the back for France. But we're at walking pace. The game is done. France leading by 4-1. Not sure if a chance presents itself, particularly to try and get the ball to Giroud for this hat-trick, and they'll obviously step it up and go for it. But at the moment, very comfortable, keeping it inside their own half. There's Konate to Upamecano. France's next game on Saturday is against Denmark. Denmark 0, Tunisia 0 earlier on today. Here's Coman wide on the right. Giroud making the run. Cross comes in. Won't find him. Ryan out to the edge of his 6-yard box and makes the grab.
Yes, interesting, isn't it? Because Denmark, they drew, didn't they, with Tunisia? But Denmark have had the better of France, haven't they, the last couple of
Nations League. Won both games, Chris. Yep, so that's Saturday, 4 o'clock. Commentary on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. And for Australia, their game will be against Tunisia, 10 o'clock on Saturday.
Win.
Yes.
Must win for Australia.
Indeed, and they've got the ball inside their own half. Degenek down the right to Moy. Fofana just stands off Moy, so Moy's allowed to turn. Wide on the right, just inside the French half, gets it again. This time he's challenged by Fofana. Fofana wins the ball. Moy felt he should have had a free kick. France continue. Here's Griezmann inside the centre circle. Finds Mbappe. Mbappe back to Griezmann. Curls a pass out to the right-hand side. Pavard chests it down, crosses in. Nowhere near Giroud. It's headed behind by Degenek for a late corner to France.
Needless to... Well, he didn't need to head it behind Degenek. He didn't get a shout, but he should have been aware enough as it is. And another couple of substitutions as Griezmann wanders over to take the corner.
Yeah.
He's barely broken sweat this evening, Griezmann.
Played that lovely little ball in late in the first half for Mbappe, which he couldn't stick into the back of the net. Giroud won't get the record tonight, Chris. He's coming off. What a night for him, though. He's equalled the great Thierry Henry. 2 goals in the game, 51 in total. He will fancy there'll be more to come in this tournament. Famously went through the tournament 4 years ago as France won the World Cup without scoring. A couple of big ones for him this evening. He's enjoyed himself.
A great pro, really is. Going to be such an important player. A goal away from being greater. Thierry Henry.
By the numbers, yeah. Pavard is the other one to come off. Right, corner for France. 89th minute of the game. What's the referee waiting for here? Blown his whistle. Here we go. Griezmann. Corner from the left. In it comes. Headed down. Oh, good save, Matt Ryan. Flying to his left-hand side. France very nearly had a fifth. They might have a chance to create one here. Mbappe's initial cross is blocked.
It's Konate, wasn't it, who got up really well from the corner and powered a header down, and Ryan made a good save down to his left-hand side.
France 4, Australia 1. Lloris just outside his penalty area. Beaten early in the game. Untroubled really since then. Apart, of course, from the Irvine header, which he wasn't going to save, that grazed the edge of the post late in the first half. Ball with Degenek in the right-back position. Plays it wide to Quol, the 18-year-old. A little bit of pinball between him and Theo Hernandez. Last touch came off Quol, so that'll be a throw-in for France on the left.
Yeah, we talk about France just warming up, getting started, and in contrast, I think they called Australia pretty right, really. They're an average team, aren't they?
Yeah, they've not been out.
Yeah, plenty of graft and endeavour, but lack real quality. They're going to struggle in this group.
Coman to Griezmann. Griezmann can see things opening up away on the right-hand side. There's Koundé, who's come on in that right-back position to replace Pavard. Gets the ball again. Rolls it away from himself. Little left-footed pass finds Griezmann. Griezmann's cross in towards the far post. Attacked and headed straight at Matt Ryan from Hernandez.
He's been good, hasn't he? He's been a really good outlet.
Quol.
Yeah, coming on for his brother.
7 minutes. They are enjoying a lot of additional time at this World Cup. Koundé chases the ball.
You said that, you know, sort of with an unhappy tone. I mean,
Chris.
we're still paid the same rate, I think, Bruce.
France.
You know, we're not on overtime.
We're not. France 4, Australia 1. France have it. 7 minutes of added time at the end of the game. And plenty more World Cup chat on the way, and it will be there for you in that World Cup Daily podcast. 4 more commentaries coming your way tomorrow. Starting at 10, Morocco against Croatia. 1 o'clock, Germany against Japan. 4 o'clock, Spain against Costa Rica. 7 o'clock, Belgium against Canada. And I'm going to head to, I've got a day off tomorrow, Chris. So I'm going to head to the supermarket. And I'm going to go and find some ingredients to make us something nice for tea. Here's Coman. Coman, clever ball to Griezmann, tries to get it back to Coman. The Hishi's there, has to clear on the turn inside his own penalty.
Well, I mean, they've kept going, the Australians. They really have, but Coman has some magic in those feet, doesn't he?
He does. Throw in back to Kanate. I thought he might have scored his first goal for his country this evening, but Ryan denied him. With the save from his header. Rabiot plays it out to the right-hand side. Griezmann, quick first time spinning pass into the feet of Upamecano. Played to Fofana. France totally in control now. 2 minutes of the 7. The added time had been played. Rabiot lets the ball run to Griezmann. Griezmann pokes it back to him wide to Coman. Coman makes the run in towards the right edge of the Australian penalty area, forced out of the box, plays back to Rabiot. Here's Koundé again. Koundé to Coman, takes that ball on the turn, runs to Mbappe. Mbappe looks to win the corner, but it's gone behind for an Australian goal kick.
Yeah, I think Julian Laurent, he'll be very happy with this French victory. And to some extent, the performance. It's about the long haul, isn't it? It's about how you finish, not how you start, but they've started okay with a win.
Would you, it's early, it's very early, Chris, but most convincing performers at the World Cup so far? England and France?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one game,
yeah,
obviously.
As usual with England, every time England win a game, there's an element of people who say, well, Iran were rubbish. You know, let's not give Gareth Southgate and his team any credit. I mean, Australia, very workmanlike. France have got better the longer the game has gone on, and Mbappe's shown glimpses, hasn't he, of absolute brilliance. I think with, it's interesting, isn't it, this player, who's going to be player of the tournament, and, with Messi, talk of him he didn't play very well today. Ronaldo, he's on the way out. Mbappe could be your man.
Writing players off left, right and centre. Here's Aaron Moy bringing the ball out from the back for Australia. Jason Cummings tries to turn it into a first-time ball. Moy battling for it again. It's a foul on Hernandez. France booking for Moy.
Yeah. And this is a concern, because we've had one Hernandez already. His brother taken off with an injury, but he's sitting up. But that was a poor challenge from Moy.
Yeah. That's the other one to test Julien Laurent with, is the siblings who represented France at the World Cup in 1930. If he gets that one, I'll give you the money myself.
Yeah, interesting one, isn't it? I got it.
4 minutes of added time have gone. 3 minutes of added time remaining. France 4, Australia 1. Convincing win for the defending champions, France, who potentially could meet England.
Got more in Le Tank. Bruce, 7-8 France. You just feel it.
Could meet England in the quarter-finals. Were France to win their group, were England to win their group, and were both of them to win their last 16
England
games.
would want France from the first 15 minutes of this game, wouldn't they?
Mbappe's ball to Coman. Coman lets it run to Koundé. Koundé approaching that Australian penalty area. Well, that's too hard. He's hit that. Has Coman managed to keep that in? No, he hasn't.
Well, that was the assistant on the far side was at the toying with Coman. He did brilliantly. I thought he did. I thought he kept it in, but he obviously didn't. And then Coman sprinted towards the ball, and it was all wasted because the assistant flagged late.
2 minutes to play. Aaron Moy up forward to Leckie, who did brilliantly to create that opening goal for Australia. thought we might have a real story on our hands. Big World Cup story today, of course, Saudi Arabia's 2-1 win over Argentina. You and I, Chris, Argentina-Mexico. That is a big game. That is a big game. Mexico 0, Poland 0. Lewandowski having a penalty saved in that game as well. France 4, Australia 1. Australia are on the ball inside their own half.
The Australians just want the end of the game, don't they?
Yeah, Bacchus plays to his right to Deganek. Qual's giving it away. Rabiot leaps in to intercept. Mbappe tries to take it past Deganek, then knocks it past Bacchus, and then the free kick. Eventually the referee decides that when he beat Deganek and Mbappe, he dragged him back unfairly, and it should be a free kick to Australia. He took his time to make his mind up on that one.
You can see the Australians' body language not great. They want the end of the game. It's like home and away at the end. Bruce, you just wanted to finish.
Oh dear. Qual back to Moy. Here's Qual.
Remember that home and away?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah. Grew up on that, Chris. Yeah. Home and away. One of my great highlights actually was meeting Alf when I went to the Olympics. Yeah, Sydney 2000. I watched Kathy Freeman win gold, and the very same day I met Alf.
I heard he said the same about you.
Cummings' ball to the left-hand side. Chested down by Bahish. Can Australia get themselves a late goal in this emptying stadium? That's nice. Ball turned back to Bahish. Bahish inside the French penalty area. Griezmann's behind him. Lloris throws himself at the cross and safely claims it at his near post. First time he's touched the ball with his hands for quite a long time. Full-time whistle blows. Olivier Giroud claps his hands together. He this evening has equalled Thierry Henry's record of 51 goals for France. More importantly, from France's point of view, their title defence is up and running. Didier Deschamps clenches his fist. They went 1-0 down early on to Craig Goodwin's goal. Rabiot's header got them level. Giroud got 2. Mbappe got the goal that his performance deserved. There was some sparkling stuff from him. And France are up and running, Chris Sutton.
Yeah, France are up and running. I think Didier Deschamps will be delighted in the end. They got the result. I think he got performance after the first 15 minutes of the game. I think France started really poorly. Australia were game, got the noses in front, but France dominant, and I mean, this is the team who are back to win this competition, and it's the perfect start for them.
Yeah, we were talking about recent editions of the World Cup, and quite often the defending champions have struggled. 4 of the last 5 defending champions haven't made it through the group stages. You'd be very surprised if that happens to France at this World Cup. They got the early setback, they responded brilliantly, and in the end they have thumped Australia by 4 goals to 1.